Greetings everybody, this is Serpentine451 here, and welcome to another episode, the second episode included this week of Fate Codex, the show where I talk about the masters that summon the servants that I talk about every week in Fate Index. Since I did flat first and going in alphabetical order, I'm now going to talk about the master of Assassin of Black, Rika Rikudou. Now originally Rika, or Reika, as I should probably say, wasn't originally going to be Assassin's Master. In fact, she was going to be used as an essential sacrifice in order to summon Jack the Ripper. Thanks to Hyoma Sagara being the one who wanted to be the master of Jack the Ripper. And this is the very interesting aspect, because Hyoma loses his hand when Jack was initially summoned, because Jack acknowledged that Rika was her master due to Rika's background being a prostitute and not wanting to die. And also, Reika is a very beautiful woman. And that's the most interesting thing about her. She acts like a mother to Jack, even sacrificing herself in their last moments to just basically run away. Some of the highlights of her, well, given the fact that her personality is, she's a woman that finds inherent worth in neither her own life or that of others, because she lived merely by allowing herself to be pushed around by just the flow of things. Though she is said to possess the morality becoming, never mind. She has the morality to become a human being. The morality she possesses seems to be just flawed. After she begins her murder spree, she has something close to madness in her eyes that drives her, that drives others away. And it's interesting that Reika is a prostitute that lived with Hyoma, the Magus, that wanted to summon Jack the Ripper as a servant, but he fails to even do so with the 6 knives as the catalyst. He concludes that he needs to create the conditions where the blades were practically used to establish a better connection. He quickly decides that Rika should be a sacrifice. But this ultimately ends in just his death. And she essentially, in order to keep Jack alive and able to transfer the command spells over to Reika, Jack needed a steady flow of mana to survive, so they started killing and ripping out the hearts of men in order to satiate Jack and keep her in corporeal form. Which is funny because when she starts killing in Bucharest, those tabloids basically say that, is this the return of Jack the Ripper due to the amount of bodies being found? Which is quite interesting and hilarious. Well, Reika doesn't have the aptitude of being a Magus, but she does serve a very good purpose to Jack herself. That is, as a mother figure. Like I said in Jack's video, since Jack as assassin is a composition of aborted children in Whitechapel that made up Jack the Ripper, they lost out in the opportunity to have a mother. And that's the reason why Jack the Ripper became the murderer that she is because the women of Whitechapel pretty much disowned her and never called her their child. So with Reika being her mother, it gave her that need to actually find something to survive and live for. And this is also the reason why when Jack ultimately is exorcised and defeated by Joan of Arc, the catalyst of her way to defeat those who tried to kill her was the death of her mother, and her death in the corporeal sense. Well, her form, that we know it, died, but then she split off into her many wraiths to actually embody that. And with her many command spells that Reika gave in order to let Jack survive, it's in that act that true motherhood was bestowed upon Jack the Ripper, in my honest opinion. And plus, Reika herself never really had a mother figure and was pretty much treated like dirt. So those two pretty much gelled with each other very well. And even though she was one of those rogue masters, as in most Holy Grail wars tend to have rogue masters that want to just watch the world burn, essentially, and just forgo the war, like Rikudou and Castor from Fate Zero. But what makes her different what makes Reika different from Rikudou is that she didn't begin her murder spree as a means to just kill and out of a sense of curiosity. She began her murder spree in order to keep her child alive. Now, that's very interesting. Flat, the naive fool, and Reika, the murderous mother figure. Two different masters that once, in different worlds, had dominion, I shouldn't really say that, had control as a master over Jack the Ripper in their many different forms. As interesting as that sounds, I will leave this to you next week. So now I finished talking about an assassin. Fate Index will be talking about a berserker, and I will think of a perfect berserker to talk about next week. This has been Serpentine 451. Catch you guys later.